everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a kindergarten teacher essentials video because I am going through all of my stuff and basically deciding what I'm bringing with me to Spain. If you guys didn't know, I'm moving to Spain to teach kindergarten there at an American school. Now, some of this stuff can definitely apply to other grade levels, but there's probably going to be some specific kindergarten teacher essential stuff, and I wanted to talk about things that I thought I was going to use a lot that I never used. Let's go ahead and get started. I don't even really know where I want to start. I'm just going to grab stuff and start talking about it, so it's in no particular order as to what you need in your classroom. But some of this stuff is going to be very organizational, some of it is going to be decor, some of it will be things for centers and all of that good stuff. Also, if you're interested to see, I just finished my first year teaching kindergarten, so I'll link one of those videos up here of me teaching so you guys can see how I used this stuff in real life and what it looked like in my classroom. But since I'm moving, I'm going through everything that I have and deciding what is really necessary. So the first thing that I have just sitting in front of me is kind of a big thing. It's actually, I have two of them and you guys are standing on top of one as well. But these are just containers that I think I have gotten these from Walmart, and they are the Sterilite brand. I don't really think the brand matters. But as you can see, I took one of them off to show you, and also because I'm going to bring them with me. This says Monday, and I made this on Canva. I made my own signs, and a lot of the decor stuff I'm going to show you, I used Canva to make it because I didn't want to buy anything, and I had an idea of what I wanted, so I wanted to create it myself. I used these storage systems to organize all of my lesson planning materials. So I would put the work that we needed for centers in here. I would put any worksheets that we were doing, any materials that we needed. This was super, super, super helpful to keep organized and just have everything there. And then I also, since there's 6 of these, if you get 2 of these, there's 3 of each. I also had a miscellaneous drawer where I could just put things in that were maybe I was only using for that week, or extra copies of things that they would send us to send out home, and a parent would lose it and then they'd want me to give them one. So those would be just specific things that I needed for that week. So this is definitely an essential, and unfortunately, since it's so big, I'm not bringing it with me, but I'm gonna bring my little signs. Let's get into some classroom decor stuff because I feel it can be very overwhelming when you're what do I even need to use to decorate my classroom? So what I did is I would use a lot of signs that would say cute little sayings welcome to kindergarten or treat people with kindness. If you guys have seen any of my other vlogs, you'll see them in there, and you can see how I set up my whole classroom the first time. I definitely will be doing a classroom setup vlog once I move, but that's probably not going to be for another month because the school system in Spain doesn't start until beginning of September, even though I know schools in the US are starting now. My video will be up definitely a little bit later than other people. So things that I had up in my classroom, I had these little signs that I think I found this one on Teacher Pay Teachers that was free. And same with this one. These are just all the letters of the alphabet. And the way that I hung these up, this is definitely, if I had to recommend one thing to buy to help you and just ease the process of setting up and taking down your classroom, it's this. These are Velcro, little sticky things. I actually have some extra ones somewhere over here. So some of them are Velcro, some of them are soft, and I used these to hang up every single thing in my classrooms. What was really great about it was if I was teaching about numbers and I wanted to be able to pull it off of the wall, I would do that. I would take, for example, let's find one, 16, and you're trying to show that it's a group of 10 and 6 extra ones. Because of the way that I hung it up, I could just take it off of the wall and use it while I was teaching and walk around and show it to the kids, which made using these Velcro things so helpful because I could remove them and put it back without it disrupting my classroom, and it was super, super easy. But anyways, that's how I did all my decor stuff. So definitely get this. It's so good. I think I got it on Amazon. The next thing that I'm going to talk about are my binders. So these are my essential binders, and I can do a whole separate video on each binder talking about what I had in each of them. But the first one that I had was a teacher resource binder. It looks like this, and again, I created this whole design on Canva myself, so you can make something that matches your classroom theme or whatever you want. The inside, I've kind of already gone through it, but I have de-escalation strategies, some random things just to look at, classroom building, classroom culture, and then what I did is I have tabs for each subject. So I have reading, math, science, social studies, and writing. And this was a way to keep like my teacher copies of things, assessments, and also just to keep track of what we have done and just like put random things for each subject in here that I knew that I could refer to and look on like, okay, what did we do last week? And then I have some random resources here that I really liked. Oh, and I have my little book. That's what a brief of what I had in my teacher resource binder. And then I have a substitute binder, which I actually have a video on my channel that I can link that talks about like when I actually went on a quick vacation and what I had in my binder and like all of the prep that goes into needing a substitute, which is a lot of prep, but that's definitely an essential that you need. Finally, the one that I used the most was my student data binder, and it's the biggest one that I have, and inside I just had a tab for each student, and I put the student information form that the parent would fill out at the beginning of the year and all of their important data, because we collect so much data even in kindergarten. In my district, we were testing them every single week. Well, on spelling we had tests every week, and then I think every like 3 weeks we had a reading test, and then every 2 to 3 weeks we had math tests. So definitely invest in some nice binders that will last you a long time. I think I got these ones probably at like Staples. Having some binders to organize yourself are so necessary and so important. Let's get into, also this is just like something that you need, like something for your calendar time to put either like on your wall or something like that. Just make sure you have an idea of what you want to do for calendar time. And I always did it in the morning during morning meeting, and I had a calendar helper and they would like do the whole calendar time with me. Let's just get into some books, because books are expensive. I would buy some books, a couple books just to have on your own. Like chances are whatever classroom you're entering into is gonna already have some resources from the previous teacher that was there that just like they could not bring everything that they had. I'll just show you guys like two that I really liked for the beginning of the year. First Day Jitters is a really good one, and you can make, they talk about in the book like jitter juice. And it's just a really cute book for the first day of school and like to help the kids not be as nervous. So I really liked that one. And then Interrupting Chicken is a really good one, just like for the first week of school, talking about not interrupting people, because that'll happen a lot in kindergarten. They have to learn how to, you know, raise their hand and stuff like that. But I have a whole bunch of other books. And these are things that like you can ask for, like if you have an Amazon wish list, or if people are asking you, like friends and family, what you want for your first year. Honestly, I would ask for some books because, like I said, they're so expensive and they'll last you a long time. So definitely invest in some books for that first week of school. And then also you can always use books from your school's library. You can like rent those out to do for your read alouds after that. Something else that obviously ties into the whole like me creating my own decor for my classroom is having a laminator. Invest in one. I think this one was like $30 on Amazon. It'll be so nice to have your own one. Definitely get that, and along with that, like the little laminating papers. This helped me a lot when I was prepping for my first year. And even like laminating, I used this to laminate things that I used for stations, for center time. But the other thing that I used for centers and for group work are these little, let me take it out. I don't remember what these are called. But basically it's like, oh, this one's like brand new. I don't think I used this one. But you can put worksheets in here and use these for centers. I did this all the time, and the kids will write on it with a whiteboard marker, and it's incredible because it saves so much paper. If you use something that is like a template that can be used each week for centers, it like cuts down your prep time so much. So this is definitely an essential. I'll try to link a lot of this stuff in the description box so that you guys can find it. Definitely an essential, and I use this a lot. Now I do have on my channel like a supply haul that I'll definitely link that as well. But this video is more realistic because after my first year, these are the things that I really used and that I think that are worth the investment that you are going to use time and time again. And one of those things, since I feel like we've been talking about centers, is my little penguin, okay? This little penguin saved my life. I didn't start using Mr. Penguin until probably the second semester of school, because it was when I finally saw it on like social media or something. And this is literally like a kid's nightlight that I got on Amazon. I'll try to link it. I'm really sad because I lost the charger for it, so I need to find it. But it was really cheap. I think it was like $12 or something like that. I would put this on my kidney table when we were doing stations, and it was like teacher table. And I would turn this on and tell my kids that they like are not supposed to come up to me to ask me like little questions. Like they need to problem solve, ask their friends. The only reason they could was like if somebody was hurt or crying or something like that, you know, for an emergency. And it worked so well because I would see kids, like they would come up to my table, they'd see that Mr. Penguin was on, they'd contemplate, they would think, then they'd go back to their table because they could figure it out, you know? 5-year-olds are capable of a lot, okay? This is an essential. You need to get this, or some type of, I've also seen teachers like have like a little crown that they'll put on that's like the don't talk to me crown because I'm working with other kids. I liked my little penguin because I think he's cute. So, and it's something that I didn't have to put like on my body. I don't know. And I just had him on my desk and then I turned him on every time. I don't know why I didn't show this to you guys first. If you go watch like my first year teacher haul video, I bought this in that video. This saved my life. It is so good. It is a teacher planner. It's from a company called Happy Planner. There's a lot of different companies out there, but this is the one that I just had found. And basically, we're gonna really be able to see how I used this because, oh, also, this was the original front cover of it, but this was on the back, so then I just reversed it. But basically, it has, let's see, this is September, so it has space to, like, just like a regular calendar format. And then what I would do, let me flip to one that like looks nice that I completely filled up. This is honestly like how I lesson planned. This is what it looks like. Basically there's space to put different subjects on the top, so I'd have like morning work, our U-Fly, which was our phonics curriculum, benchmark, which was our reading curriculum, math, social studies, science, extra things I needed to remember. And then like sometimes I would write like center work here. And then to keep myself like accountable and on track, because you know, some days your lessons are gonna flop and you'll have to like reteach things. But whenever I taught something, I would like highlight it and that would tell me like, okay, this is done. What do we need to work on? This is such a good investment. And then also in the very back, let me see if there's a page I haven't used. Yeah. So at the very back, there's a classroom checklist and I would keep all of my grades on paper here and then put them into the computer because I don't know, it was just easier for me to do it that way, and I liked having it on paper first and have it like all in one spot so that if anything ever happened in my grade book, I could like go and double check that I had entered it the right way. But teacher planner is a necessity. I actually need to buy one. So I need a new one because this one is like from last year. If you're looking for something like fun just to include in your classroom, I didn't discover this until like the end of the year, but I purchased a class set of these little flashlights. And I wish I would have bought this earlier because it really, like my kids got so excited about being able to read with them. So if you ever have like quiet time or reading time, I would like turn off all the lights and then the kids have like their little flashlight in their book and they can read with it. So that could be something fun to invest in or just ask for on your wish list. That's another thing. You do not need to spend a lot of money on like supplies like pencils and markers and stuff. Like those are things that the parents are going to be purchasing for their kids, and obviously like it's good to have some extras, but like don't worry about that because the parents will take care of it. You'll have some sort of budget from your school to help you out with that. So don't like go overboard and go crazy with like buying actual materials like notebooks and paper and pens and stuff like that because your school should have it or your parents should be donating. Another teacher essential are sticky notes. I didn't use as many sticky notes as I thought I would. Like I had this from the beginning of the year and it has like 24 packs. I still have a lot of them. I don't know, maybe you'll use a lot of them, but like don't go crazy. You don't need that many because I really just used it for like reminders for myself, and maybe I would put it in like certain points of my teacher edition book that I wanted to go over, but I didn't really use sticky notes that much. Something that I did use a lot were Sharpies and highlighters. Like Sharpies, highlighters, like fun pens, like fun colorful like markers and stuff like for yourself. Those are an essential because like those are things you can buy just for you. You can have those, but don't go overboard. Something that I used all the time, these are the ones that I used this year, which I think I'm just gonna have to toss them because they've been through a lot. These are my little Mr. Sketch markers. I'm sure you guys have heard of these. They're like the smelly markers, and I would use these every morning to check my kids like morning work, or I would use it to check like whatever activity they were working on during the day just to keep them accountable. Like they would raise their hand and I'd come around and check it, and that was a time for me to give like a tiny bit of one-on-one feedback to each student. So I definitely loved having these in my classroom, and I just had these like on my desk. Another thing like specifically for kindergarten that I used, I actually had like I saw this on Pinterest. It's called Mr. Spacer, and I made these out of popsicle sticks and googly eyes, and when kids were writing they would use this as their spacer, and I used this at the beginning of the year mainly, and then like I explained to them that we're gonna try to use it without Mr. Spacer. And so it was a good way to also differentiate for like kids who needed to use it. It was extra support, and then ones who didn't, and it would just be there for them to like go and grab. And obviously you have to like explain the rules of using them, like don't draw on Mr. Spacer, which obviously happens sometimes. He has a little face. As far as like materials for stations, I found myself just using the curriculum and using what was given to me. So the curriculum that we followed, especially for, reading and math, provided us with resources to use during station time. And that's where I would use like, where did they go? That's where I would use these and like print them out and reuse them. But I did not purchase my first year. I really didn't purchase or use any of my own like toys or games or things like that, because I was really fortunate that the school that I was working at had all of those resources for me already. So if those are things that you want to purchase and you have the funds to purchase, definitely go ahead and do it. But I think that those are all of the like main essentials that I would have to tell somebody, if I could tell somebody who was going into their first year of teaching kindergarten to buy, because it'll just get you started with some things that you need for your classroom. And just don't go overboard, because I feel like that's a mistake that some people make. And I know that like a lot of the times I'll see on social media all of these like crazy designed classrooms with like all of these things, but just know like you do not have to do that. And like a lot of those teachers have been teaching for like years and years and years, and that's how they've collected all of that. I feel like with all of the things that I shared with you guys, I was able to have like a nice classroom and decorate it nicely. Like I said, I used Canva to design a lot of the things that I put up in my classroom, and then I would print and laminate them. Oh, that's another thing. I did have my own printer at my house, which I'm at my parents' house right now. That's like not relevant, but at the apartment that I was at, if you watch some of my vlogs, you probably would have seen it. I invested in my own printer and like color printer, because that's how I was able to like design all of these things for my classroom, my little signs. So I actually would recommend having your own printer, and it also helps if maybe you're not as prepared as you should be for class one day and you need to like print something, like you can print it at your own house. But that does get expensive because ink is really expensive. I'll try to find like the printer that I have and I'll link it in the description. I think I'm just gonna wrap up this video here. Those are just some quick practical things that you need as a first year teacher, and especially for teaching kindergarten. Some of the stuff that I talked about, like Mr. Penguin and Mr. Spacer, are super helpful for our little kindergarten kiddos. Make sure to check out, if you're interested, check out my vlogs from this past year of teaching kindergarten, because I definitely got into a lot of like the nitty-gritty of what happens in kindergarten and how I like overcame certain difficult situations, how I was trying to like balance my life and all of that fun stuff. I also just started my own podcast called Teaching in Your 20s, and I also will link that below so that you guys can listen to it. I'm posting every single Monday a new episode. I was going to say video because I'm so used to saying that, but a new episode for you guys to listen to, and I will be talking about a lot of things that will be helpful for your first year of teaching. And so make sure to go check it out. Like follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all of those fun things. They're linked in my channel. Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to comment down below if you have questions. I'd love to help answer them, and I wish you guys luck. If you're watching this, that probably means you're going into your first year teaching, or second year, third year, however many years you've been teaching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel for more, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.